bust a couple of myths. GCC is not new. GCC is just another operating model of multinational organizations. I see the next generation becoming cynical and bored too fast. Keep the curiosity. Have the empathy and appreciation of what does long-term thinking mean. How do you build something which is enduring, not a temporary thing? Because when you build that mindset, you build long-term for yourself.
If you were to a student again today, with everything you know, how would you approach your career differently or similarly?
I think I will continue to hold on to the joy of learning.
Okay, one thing about Gen Z at work that genuinely impressed you.
Yeah, oh, I love working with Gen Z. I think what I love is their ability to question your fundamental beliefs without much fear. I love that.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today. Welcome to another exciting Thinkly Talk. At Thinkly Talk, we deep dive into conversation that open doors to new opportunities, fresh perspectives, and inspiring possibilities that can shape our careers and lives. I'm Vijay Sonawane, a higher education consultant. I assist students in securing admission into world's elite universities and colleges. At Thinkly Higher Education Community, our goal is to introduce you to emerging career opportunities, workplace trends, evolving technologies, and the skill that needed to stay ahead. That's why we bring an industry expert who offer valuable insights. And today we have one such expert with us. I'm sure many of us are familiar with terms called BPOs and KPOs. Over the year, and especially from 1990 to the early 2000, India has been a global leader in outsourcing processes. With a large English speaking and technology educated talent pool, cost effective operations, and investor friendly policies, India dominated this space, handling over 56% of the world's BPO workload at that time. However, the outsourcing landscape is now evolving. Companies are shifting from traditional BPOs and KPO services to global capability centers called GCCs, a more advanced and strategic model focused on innovation, product development, and digital transformation rather than just a transactional services. Today, India is a home to more than 50% of the world's GCCs, employing over 1.4 million professionals and significantly contributing to the economy. With this shift, new career paths and opportunities are emerging at a rapid pace. So we decided to investigate this game changing space and help you understand how GCCs are shaping the future and what does that mean for you. Today, I'm absolutely delighted to host one of the key personalities in the GCC space. She is the MD and country manager for Planview India, one of the key global GCC entities. She is a seasoned software product and technology leader with over 20 years of experience in building and scaling enterprise platforms for the world's top financial institutions. A visionary in her field, she has built high performing teams, fostered culture of innovation, and played a pivotal role in India's Software Product Council at NASSCOM. As a trusted advisor and a mentor, she continued to drive the growth of India GCCs, software products, and startup ecosystem. Beyond her professional achievement, she is a multifaceted personality, fluent in 6 languages, a passionate music lover. She loves cooking and also finds joy in teaching kids. You are a true multitasker, Shalini. How do you manage this? Okay. And she lives in Bangalore with her family. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to Shalini Sankarshana, MD and Country Manager for Planview India. Shalini, it is truly a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Vijay, and thank you, Thinkly team. It's been my pleasure and privilege interacting with you all, and I'm truly looking forward to the next hour of conversation. You have been very kind to my past and my experience, but I think that's been the journey for me, which is, as life threw things at me, how did they turn into opportunities? I think some of it we will explore it through the conversation today. But thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, truly inspiring journey. So, Shalini, let me start. Uh, so, you have led innovation across products and technology for global institution. Could you walk us through your professional journey and what led you to head Planview India operations?
Sure. Um, I think if you look at it, it's been a fairly straightforward journey because again, these are all reflections in hindsight. But when I think back to my career journey, and I'm hoping and I believe it's still the beginning, and I have much more to do. But when I look back at the journey, I think one of the key attributes that has shaped my journey is as things came along professionally, I was generally the first one to say, yes, I want to do it. Second, I was generally the one who would try, experiment, and learn on the job. And third, I believe that we can always find a way forward. So some of it may be naivety in my youth, but I think now it's kind of become a playbook and definitely sets confidence. It also shares the innate need for anybody's internal growth to really build a community of supporters around you and the ecosystem and the ability to ask for help, right? So all of these have been reflections, and truly grateful for a whole bunch of people who have helped me through this journey. But going into specifics, began as an engineer in electronics and communication, if you believe it. Um, uh, and I chose that field because it felt like the hardest subject. So I was a nerd from day one. I wanted to get to the hardest subject, be the best student, top the class. That was my entire life goals, right? So I think, but never imagined that I would get into the hot field of investment banking and capital markets. But that's exactly where I ended up as part of my first job. And the first job, it gave me opportunities to really look at a company's life cycle from growth to scale up massively, get acquired, acquire a few companies, spin off, then again restart the journey. So kind of went through the whole thing. I think that definitely has shaped my thinking of what does it mean to be a long-term player, and what does it mean to be a long-term player, not just individually but also build enduring skills for really lasting in the market cycles. So again, while I started as an engineer, like many of us back then did, very soon I realized I truly love working closer to business, working closer to especially customers, and truly solving the real world problems. So, very, very quickly pivoted towards a lot of customer facing activities and roles while still holding on to technology that has been the backbone so far. And as I did that, had the opportunity to go through multiple facets of product development life cycle. I've always been in the product and platform space. So technology has always fascinated me, but what has more fascinated me is how does this really get leveraged and utilized in the real world? And I think that interest and curiosity led me to really be in the thick of things, ability, the skills that I kind of developed as, ability to solve problems very much on the go, focus on thoughtful but quick action without getting into an analysis paralysis mode, ability to look through a user's perspective first before you start thinking of your own perspective. I think a lot of this, and also ability to drive through change and not having change really phase you or affect you negatively. I think some of those have been true gifts, and while they're all skills, but they're true gifts that I have developed because these are not just professional skills, right? These are life skills, and
Yes.
and you apply it everywhere. So I think, yeah, and I have the I have the misnomer that gets called out at home, that you have to stop project managing our home life, but that's become a skill now. So I think that's been the journey, Vijay. So I kind of led, from engineering, moved on to technology, leadership, product management. Very early on, really tried to build in that product thinking and discipline into our organizations, which led me to a lot of global skills, working with multiple cultures. I had opportunity to live and work across multiple countries. Then post that, I think went into other parts of customer functions, from professional services to support, all the way till on the other side to really building out strategy. And I think somewhere a lot of that has led to where I am right now. And I'm still learning on a daily basis. I learn. I think in the current role, it gives me an opportunity to go across industries and across sectors, and it's remarkable the kind of work that other organizations do. So while I go in representing my organization and as a vendor, most of the times I'm in awe of all the work that's happening in our customer organization. So I think that joy and curiosity for me really has helped me so far. Of
Great, great. Thank you for sharing that.
course.
Uh, so GCC as a space, frankly speaking, is a very new term. Um, I came across it very recently when I think recently Times of India covered a whole lot of space on GCC. So, and you people are into that. So, for someone unfamiliar with this particular space, what exactly your organization do, and how does it help the large organization?
Let me bust a couple of myths. GCC is not new.
Okay,
GCC is just another operating model of multinational organizations. Okay. And of course, any three-letter acronyms and monikers always become popular. But I think the oldest GCC probably in India. Like I said, GCC is not just an India specific phenomenon. Any organization which built a global center outside of its headquarters really was operating in a GCC model, right? And this has been there for a very, very long time for some of the largest institutions. I think what has changed over the recent past is acceleration of number of companies which have opened up GCCs, acceleration and recognition that India, perhaps across the world, has the best combination of skills, investor sentiments, talent availability, and the overall ecosystem from academia, college, all the way till startups. I think all of those, and that's an amazing secret sauce that's come together. And while GCC has spread across India, I think Bangalore has definitely been the favorite so far. Has more than 60-70% of India's GCC's population here. So I think that's what has led to a lot more conversations, a concentration and acceleration. Now, what does GCC really mean? It's essentially, if you really look at it in the simplest English, it's a global center of an organization. So, which means it's not just an US or a European or an Asian company opening a center here. An Indian company could have a GCC somewhere else too. And an Indian domiciled company can have a GCC in India too. Okay. So let's try to bust all the myths out. That is number two. Number three is the biggest difference in this evolution of global operating model, the way I call it, is in the past, organizations would find low complexity functions which you want to kind of give it away to low cost centers and then push it out to India. That is how it began way back.
right.
And that included BPOs, KPOs. Even then, it was a GCC model. It's just that it was more an outsourcing, truly sourcing it out. Okay. And that led to not only sourcing it out to services organization, large ones like your Infosys and Tatas, because that was true outsourcing. Slowly offshoring started. Offshoring is different from outsourcing, which means you're not giving it away to some third party. You're building your own extension of a team in a different geography or a different center for various reasons. One of the big reasons India began with this was, as you mentioned, English speaking talent, cost differential, and ability to scale. Like 1 in 3 engineers today in the world is an Indian. So I think some of that scale you will not get anywhere else in the world. So I think that is what led to the initiation of this whole offshoring movement, which is, I would still have a center of my own, but in a different country,
Right.
rather than just giving it away into a third party outsourcing organization. So both still coexist. And then what happened is, as this moved on, the realization was that maturity of the talent here, ability to pick up faster, really learn, innovate, come together, all of this became some key skills in the India center. So India's centers really grew, not just in size and scale, but also in the amount of things it would do, amount of things you would actually own and run from here for the global company. I think that's the inflection point we are in right now, where not only large organization, but even mid-sized organizations are opening up a GCC in India. It could start from, a 50-member team all the way till, 500,000. And once you do that, you're still looking for specific drivers there. And given that your size and scale doesn't matter, you can still open up and you can still have advantage, has led to a lot more of GCCs coming in, which opens up a lot more job opportunities. And we see this trend only continuing to grow and accelerate. I think some of the predictions I saw is, 2,500 GCCs in the next 2-3 years, etc. Right. So, and it's also led to a lot more cities in India having this proliferated. All of that has happened from a job opportunity and function standpoint. Yeah, it's no longer just operations and low complexity. It goes all the way till I will run and own and drive an entire product or a P&L from here. So you could have, your CIOs and CTOs sitting out of your GCC in India. So the evolution is quite magnificent, and it has to take on more. So a lot more runway.
Yeah, so it's a fascinating journey from a transactional based kind of center to becoming more strategic, maybe getting
Absolutely.
into innovation and stuff like that. Yeah. So maybe a journey from cost center to maybe a profit center.
For sure.
Yeah.
Value center for sure. See, profit center, when you talk about it, it does have some implications from taxation, etc. So if you leave the
Right.
technicalities out, it's cost center to value center. So you're driving a whole host of value, much beyond a typical cost conversation. And that value is not just about doing something like for like as of today, but you're actually driving transformations. I think that's the opportunity.
Okay. Okay. And how Planview is
Sure.
playing its role
So,
in the whole process.
yeah, number one, Planview itself has a GCC in India, which is where I'm leading it. But
Okay.
Planview helps organizations manage their transformations. It helps companies manage their businesses for sure, even run the business, but managers help manage true transformations, right? So when it comes to transformation, digital transformation, one of the biggest drivers of digital transformation is a lot of companies going through this GCC route, which helps transform their workforce, which helps transform how do they actually do work in their own organizations. It could be an automotive company, it could be a pharmaceutical company, it could be a bank, it could be a technology company. But as soon as you start pulling out, workforce strategy to have a lot more global operating model, what happens is, you have to redefine your day-to-day working model. You have to redefine how work gets allocated, how work gets managed, how work gets monitored, and how do you invest in this? So, because as you invest, is it getting invested in the right way and are you getting the right returns? And then how do you do the entire planning to execution cycle, right? So that's what Planview really specializes in, helping the organizations truly drive this. And specific to GCCs, like I said, they're extensions of truly their global organization. So specifically what we do within India GCC in Planview is we are building an ecosystem of all our global customers and their GCCs here, so we can start servicing right here. And we are also helping the global organizations manage in a consistent way. So, a lots to do.
Okay. Good, good, good. So when was the time actually that GCC started to work more on the innovation side? If you can give us some kind of a case study that, okay, this was the time actually this started to happen.
Is your question more about Planview India, or is it about largely in India, the GCC revolution? What was
In
the
India, largely.
I think the seeds of this began long ago, right? If you're familiar with Bangalore, General Electric GE was one of the original companies who built their entire almost R&D, which is true essence of an organization and innovation in Bangalore, ITPL, long ago, decades ago, right? So the seeds were sown decades ago. Progressive organizations built this far ahead of time. When did it become a lot more mainstream? I think it's probably in the last decade. In the last decade is when it's truly become mainstream, where it is no longer called out as a rarity, but it's become commonplace.
Right, right. So currently in Planview, like some of which are your key products or platform which are being built or shipped from the India GCC today to the global companies or organization?
We, like I talked to you about, I mean, our products are into portfolio management, work management, resource capacity, planning and management. That is a space that we are in. And we help drive both physical products and digital products and the whole professional services space. So from India, the way we have built the center here is as a multifunctional center. So it is not related to one specific function, but this is a center which is like a microcosm of the entire organization. So we have all the way from pre-sale, sales support, management, product development, professional services, customer care, customer success, marketing, managed services, HR, finance, kind of it's the whole closed loop that we service from India. And we do it across all of our customers. Today we have about 5,000 plus customers. And we do across all geographies and we do across all products. So we have about 15 to 16 products. Planview keeps growing products, require a lot of companies. So I think we're at 16 today. I think we support all the products from India. So I think the beauty of that we're Planview India is we support every product. And because we support it through all parts of the life cycle, we are in the core of R&D, we're also in the core of innovation.
Great. So, Shalini, our audience is primarily college students, high schoolers, okay, and they may not be very familiar with the terms which you are using. For example, portfolio management or digital transformation. If you could just give us a little glimpse as
Yeah.
to what do you mean by that?
So think of, let's start with digital transformation, right? Transformation, English definition is change. So change happens in every company, in every business. It happens to countries, right? So that is what Planview helps through. Every company is going through this. The reason digital transformation has become a big thing is in the last decade and a half, a lot of this change or transformation in the companies is happening because things are being digitized. Technology is in the middle of it. Take a bank. Look at our parents. When we were doing banking transactions, when our parents would do, or when we were younger, we would go to a teller or a bank account. We would have a passbook. We would get an entry done. You stand in a line, you deposit, you withdraw, and you're tracking all of it. So this was a typical banking experience. Today, how many of the audience of Thinkly even goes to a bank? Not even to open the account. Everything happens over an app. That's
Correct.
as simple as an example of a digitization of just a traditional industry like banking. Look at automotive. Look at a car. A car is less of a car today and more of a computer. Everything in a car has a computerized part. I'm not even talking of a high-end car like, autonomous car. I'm saying a regular car has more
Hmm.
computer parts and a digital parts than a traditional car. And then we all know our own stories of India, Aadhaar and UPI, where everything is digitized. You have everything at the hand of a mobile phone. So all of these are examples of how organizations, countries, governments, institutions are absolutely getting revolutionized by digital. So that is digital transformation. But in reality, transformation is always about technology, but digital is about people. So
Hmm.
that is where the long-lasting skills that the students and others to have to think about and the new gen employees is because what is happening in these companies is host of change. And for people to be up to that change, you have to be constantly reinventing what you know. And it's not just about learning a language or learning a technology, but it's about, are you able to adapt, problem solve it faster, use the newest tools. May not be learning all the tools, but can you use the tools, including the chat GPT and AI? So I think that's the change. That is the skill of really adapting to change and problem solve all the time. Focus on the problem, not about the solution. Today, I think the technology is so good, can solve most problems. So it's not about do I have solutions, it's about do I have the right problems to focus on. So I think that's what I would urge our audience to think about. Now coming back on portfolio management. So in simplest terms, as all these companies, organization, institutions do their work, the work could be anything, right? The work could be, I'm teaching in a school, so I'm running a school, I'm running a hospital, I am running a bank, I'm running this Thinkly as a company. So for any of this, you always have X amount of finances, you have X amount of rupees or dollars, that's finances which you have to plan for. You will have Y amount of resources. Resources can be people and also all the non-human resources. Like, it could be machines and infrastructure, it could be buildings, it could be real estate, all of these. Then inventory, all of that, right? And then you have to manage now the amount of finances that you have. How do you invest that financial docket that you have into the right things so that you always are maximizing your profitability? That's what running a business is all about. Yes or no? As
Yeah.
simple. And to do that, you have to know what is it that I have, how do I allocate, what are the most important things, and once I do that planning, how do I continue to execute? Because through the year, you may have a plan, but at the end of the year, if you look at it, plan is A and execution is B. So sometimes it's like how our flyovers and metros get done.
I mean, don't ask us. We have a live example
You don't
here in
want
Bombay.
that. You don't want that, right? So there is a huge gap between what's the plan is, what's the execution is. That's where Planview comes in. So what we do is we help. The reason it's called portfolio management is it's not one small project or product that you're managing. You're managing a basket of these things at a company level, right? And you'll have to keep changing priorities. And as you change priorities, you have to rework the entire plans, reallocate people, reskill them, and then make the delivery happen. Still keep customers happy. So this is all part of running a business, changing the business and growing the business. That is what is, in a simplest definition, portfolio management, and which is where Planview is a market leader in helping companies do. I hope I was simpler.
No, I think you made it very, very easy. So now I just would like to go a little further and ask you that if you can just, explain us with the real world example,
Mhm.
okay, as to how a client approach to you and how do you identify the problem statement, how do you start the ideation, the actual deployment, everything put together. So, and how you help organization, if you can give us one or two case studies, that will be very easy and that will drive a point.
Sure. Let's take an example of, let's say, an automotive company, okay, as one of our customers. So this company, I'll not take the name, but this is one of the largest manufacturers of two-wheelers in the world, an India domiciled company, you may have guessed. So this company in the current form is looking at three big drivers. One is they are transforming digitally. What does that mean? You still have physical two-wheelers that you manufacture in your plant and you sell. Where is digital in this? Two forms. One is you are implementing digital inside that two-wheeler, right? Where you're tracking, you're monitoring, you're making sure it's not lost, it is getting serviced, that whole part. And in the component development itself, like I have a chassis, I have a screw, I have an engine, I have a motor that I'm developing as a company. And how do I do this in a way that this can be used across multiple countries? Because multiple countries have multiple regulations. So this is how digital plays a role in a physical product development. So this is what one of my biggest drivers as a company was for the automotive companies. I want to take my two-wheeler manufacturing, not just manufacturing, two-wheeler. I want to be the world's best two-wheeler manufacturer and best two-wheeler exporter and seller in the whole world. Today, I am that. I'm distributing to 70 odd countries, but can I be called out as number one two-wheeler supplier in the entire world? So, which means I have to start adhering to Europe standards. I have to adhere to US standards, Africa, Asia, wherever I'm going to. So that's number one. With the use of technology, which is a big change for a traditional company. Second is in automotive, there's a host of things that's happening on electric vehicle. Everybody wants to build EVs. So which means this company already has launched a whole line of EVs. Okay. So I have to manage that in the current running business. Okay. And my third driver is while I do all of this, I want to turn my company from an India domiciled company to a world class company, which means I have to change my technology, people, processes to really be global. These were the three big drivers. And this was the vision they had up till 2030. They had a plan. And this was not just for them, their subsidiary companies as well. Okay. So this was a customer who came to us, and the question they had is, we are doing a lot of these things. We have already engaged with some great, companies to help us through do this what you call as product lifecycle management. It's called PLM, which is helping through the whole change. But what I don't have is understanding and visibility of how will all of this connect the dots and finally help me execute those three big things. Because what I'm doing it is in all pieces and parts. Okay. That was their biggest question. And they did not have an answer as to how will they solve it. But they believed that we could help solve it. So the first thing that we have to know when a customer comes up with a question like this is help them clarify their own question. So which means you go next level deeper into understanding every part of what is really happening in today. And in every part, what do you really want it to happen tomorrow? And if you don't know what to happen tomorrow, these are the 2, 3 ways you can do. So you have to do that whole exercise. That requires expertise, not just from a technology standpoint, but truly understanding what does problem solving look like. Okay. And once you do that, then you identify this is the part of the work, body of work, which let's say a Planview as an organization can do. My software can do A, B, and C to give you this result is what you have to establish in the first phase. Once you do that, then you start identifying all the steps you have to do within your own product. So we are a SaaS company. What does SaaS mean? SaaS is software as a service, which means this is one product already has everything most companies would need as a solution, and you only configure it or tweak it to really work for every client. You're not custom building software for every company. That's not what works. And that model is fairly dead now, unless it's very, very high custom focused development that needs to happen for, let's say, defense or any specific problem statement. So in the SaaS space, the whole idea for anybody who's joining this kind of workforce is really having a way to think that I'm building a product. I'm not building something for one client, second client, third client. That's a different mindset. The product mindset is I'm building once, I want to reuse the maximum. So I need to have super set of requirements, understanding. So if I'm told, okay, you put a button on the screen, I should know why, what, how, what will happen upstream, what will happen downstream. Finally, the work can be just putting a button. But that whole understanding, thinking of the problem solving, I think that's the biggest thing that happens here. So you start doing that exercise saying, these are the 10 different ways I can help you solve. Now let's start identifying what does Mr. Customer you need for this. So that requires a lot of meeting of minds, a lot of conversations back and forth. Once that happens, you've identified what to really solve for them. Okay. And that's when you get into what you call as implementation and deployment phase. So after all of this, which is like a discovery phase, you come up with a set of requirements, you come up with a timeline, you come up with what is the cost and how does that cost gets paid out. And then you start deploying. Deploying is you start building on your software the specific things that the customer needs. And as you do that, you test it. There is something called as an agile framework. So this workforce absolutely should understand what is agile. I mean, my sincere recommendation, whether you're entering a physical world or digital world, agile is here to stay. So when you're in agile, you are doing this not in like 6 month, 10-month chunks. You're doing it in weeks and days, right? So you're learning requirements, you're breaking it down to the smallest bit, you're coding for it, and you're testing it, and you're deploying it, and you're getting customer feedback. So this keeps on going on for the cycles. And in the end, there's a deployment that happens. This is in general a cycle for any SaaS implementation, not just Planview. And I called out some of the key skills I think people should be adapting to. While you still have to learn the product, learn the technology, all of that is are very critical. What I'm calling out are other skills which are not typically taught in a classroom, but it's more mindset that you have to build in.
Wow, great. So let me now just go back to your organization and how it is evolving in terms of growth, in terms of innovation, or in terms of milestone. We have also heard that you had acquisition. You acquired some other company last year. So can you share us as to what that was and how it impacted or benefited your India operations?
I think we have we've been in a hyper growth journey for the last few years. Since 2021 up till last year, we doubled our business. Then we have been acquiring companies and adding on capabilities for the last more than a decade. And I think growth and innovation are happening both what you call as organically, which is what you build in-house, and inorganically, which is where you buy companies, buy products. It's both directions we are growing. And growth happens on multiple fronts. One is, are you able to acquire and get new customers because there's a need of this solution for multiple customers? That's one way of growing, right? You're acquiring more customers. Second way of growing is I'm continuing to build new things in my product. And with that new things, you are selling to your existing customers and new customers. So that's like a capability driven growth. Then the third is I will want to explore new markets. I'm selling only in Americas, I will go to Europe. I'm selling only in America and Europe, I'll go to Asia. I'm doing only in these three, let me go to Africa. So that's a new geography. So we are growing on all the three dimensions. And when you do this, innovation happens on multiple levels. Innovation happens on how you sell, how you position, on what you build, and how do you build it. Because while I talked of 16 odd products we have, what we are really building is a platform. Platform means it's one way of building it, irrespective of how many products you have. You build it as one way. So you build once and reuse multiple times. So how you build that is very different. Technically, you start building out a lot more services, lot more APIs, and focus on what we call as user experience, so that the users have the most simplistic experience, but you do all the complicated processing underneath. So innovation happens in how you build, what you build. On top of all of this, of course, in the last few years, artificial intelligence definitely has taken up a huge center stage. And we have been on the AI journey for some time, not just because ChatGPT came on. AI has multiple dimensions, right? You have classic artificial intelligence, which is how do you drive data and derive intelligence. We have been on that journey. We've been adding AI-driven capabilities inside our products. And in the last 1 year, we launched our own Copilot. And that Copilot essentially helps all the portfolio management I explained. It helps a portfolio manager using Planview to do this in the most seamless way. So Copilot essentially becomes your assistant to do all of this decision making. Even though there was a product and a platform, you would still go through a lot of manual steps to make the decision because your organization has all those steps, right? You're seeking data from many people
Right.
and to collect. All of that gets seamlessly done by Copilot. So that's been our innovation journey. Very, very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, okay, great. So you have a problem, you just kind of punch in few lines and perhaps you may get a solution or some kind of direction or, a path forward.
It does give you, first of all, it answers the question you have. So you can start, and it also prompts you with what questions you should ask so that you
Ah,
know that you're heading to the right direction, right? Because sometimes it's all about taking away uncertainty in decision making. So you take
Okay.
decisions various ways. It's trying to give you one path of how do you drive decision. So let's say the first question I may ask is, okay, I am so and so. Let's say I'm the CTO, Chief Technology Officer, and I know a lot of things are going up and down, red and green, all these business priorities. So, Mr. Copilot, tell me what are my biggest problems I should worry about today. So, what the Copilot does is analyzes your entire portfolio data, which is in the system. We also have built in some best practices that has gone into that intelligence. We have some thought leadership work, which is, some innovation work beyond the product as to how should you really drive businesses. All of that gets come in. And it says these are the three things that you have to worry about because these are the three reasons why it's risky. But it does not only give you an answer, it substantiates the answer by data. And then you say, okay, out of these three, um, give me recommendations on what's the first one to fix and how should I fix it. So it goes back and tells you recommendations of real clear recommendations of what should you actually do to fix it. And then you can actually go back and say, okay, I agree with this recommendation or I disagree with this recommendation because so and so answer. Go analyze and tell me more. It will tell you. But if you agree with the recommendation, you will go and say, whom all in my organization should I actually communicate that I want to do this change? It gives you a list of people. And then you say, okay, why don't you simulate if I do this change in this project, what happens? So it does a simulation inside the system and shows you the results. And if you do that, it goes and says, okay, this is what will change up and down. In that case, let me communicate to all of them. So summarize all of this in an email or a PowerPoint or a PDF and give me an email. So it gives you, and with the email IDs that you should be sending it, you send it. And you come back and say, I've sent it. If I have to make this change, I've simulated, I've done communication, now I have to make the change. Can you make the change for me? It says, yes, I can make the change for you. It will make the change and it will say, are you okay to submit? You say, yes, it's good. So literally everything you want to do, you can do it in a matter of clicks. And that's what we are building.
This is amazingly, I mean, it's so proactive, I mean, I say, actually, it's a true AI, huh? True AI,
That's right.
right? And it is really enabling you, your life, your challenges. It's amazing. Okay. So since we are talking about AI, and it's as we all know, it's almost whatever we are doing, it is AI is playing a big part. So when you're working with these big organizations, so have you noticed a change in approach to a project when is involved right from the beginning? I mean, you have that technology available, so how
That's becoming
clients are
the norm.
responding to it?
That's becoming the norm, but it's going to take some time for true adoption from day one. It's going to take time. I think the practical reality in the next few years is a lot. See, it's not only about technology. I told you, digital transformations about technology. Digital is about technology, transformation is about people, right? So it's
Yes.
about the people inside those organizations who have to go through that change. So even though we have UPI today, it took us years for us to trust that the UPI is still taking the money rightly and giving it to the right. Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
so I think it's that adoption, which is always a human challenge. So with that in mind, more than the technology being available, customers have to change a lot of processes internally. And not all of it is sometimes in their hands. There are a lot of regulated industries like, healthcare. You can't just make a change. You're affecting people's health and lives. So you have to go through a lot of government regulations and approvals. Banking, you can't just do it. You have taxation and other regulations. So I think a lot of that will help implementing AI and its capability in a measured and thoughtful, but slightly longer term. I think that's what's going to happen. That's what we are seeing with our industries. There are some who adopt it very quickly, they test it out, deploy it, and they're like, they can do it. But most people, for their core business, they will take time to reimagine the entire process. But what we are seeing as a change is if anybody is starting a brand new project, right? They want to start AI mindset first. So, which is why, upskilling people, focusing on learning and development for the people to start thinking differently, to start leveraging AI from day one. I think that's becoming a definitely a more mainstream conversation.
Okay. Okay. Good. 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 So, so what do you think? What is next when it comes to Indian GCCs? How do you see them transforming in next couple of years, say 3 to 5 years of horizon? Okay, so where do you see the biggest opportunity?
Number one, I think a lot more companies are going to open up GCCs. That itself is an opportunity. Number two, I think there will be a big push for truly technology and AI driven thinking from day one, because companies are going to use this India GCCs as a way to transform their parent organizations also, because a lot of legacy sits there. So this becomes an experimentation hub. So I think a lot of that will come in, um, which means expectation of people who are joining this workforce will be a lot more driven towards technology, automation, intelligent automation, AI, all of that. The third trend I would predict is, while cloud has been a big driver for a lot of technology organizations, even traditional organizations, today cloud is mainstream. Similarly, I think the one big thing that's growing and we still don't have a big handle on as an overall industry is cybersecurity. I think artificial intelligence and cybersecurity will go hand in hand. And more we can do there, I think we can truly impact the world.
Okay, so I would like to again take you back to our audience, our students. So for students and young professional who are listening to our conversation, what advice would you give to those who want to work in the product, tech, and digital transformation space?
I would say I'll probably focus on, like I said, mindset and attitude, Vijay, because there's a host of skilling programs, a lot of things you can learn online, etc. So I think, and there are a lot of people who can share those resources as well. So I would focus on the upcoming workforce. What is it that they should be ready for? I think one is expect that things change. So which means ability to change, whether it's process, flexibility of, keep your mind flexible on how to even learn, right? Keep learning, keep growing is now a norm. Okay. The day you say, okay, I'm an expert in this, by then the technology itself will be redundant. So I think that is a magic bullet that the new generation workforce has. They should not lose that. Okay? Second is more than just learning a technology or understanding how to apply it, and it's not even a technology thing, right? You could be non-technological. You could be coming in, let's say, as a banking operator. You could be coming in as a as a manufacturing technician. But do remember, even in the hardcore traditional functions, technology has become a really big key. So how do you not just learn technology but really understand the domain, understand the customer's problem, and you will not know it when day one when you join. Nobody is going to come and sit and tell you, okay, this is the customer problem you're solving. But how do you continuously dig in and understand and have your eye on the ball, which is what is the problem I'm solving? I may not know this big business thing, that's okay, but do you know what's the problem to be solved? I think that mindset is very, very critical for the next generation workforce. And third is truly learning, and this is probably not, I mean, it's got nothing to do with digital transformation. It applies to anybody joining in the new workforce. I think keep the curiosity. I see the next generation becoming cynical and bored too fast. Keep the curiosity. Have the empathy and appreciation of what does long-term thinking mean? How do you build something which is enduring, not a temporary thing? Because when you build that mindset, you build long-term for yourself. I think that would be my three sets of pointers.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to sum it up, I would say the four key terms which I gathered from your conversation is empathy, okay, agility, not even on the technology side, even inside you, right? It's even curiosity and resilience. Yeah, this
And
is very, very
problem solving as a,
problem solving. Yes,
because
problem solving.
because that's one thing. See, I think it's very real. This AI and forget AI. It's just a technological evolution is very real. Speed of technological evolution is very real. So I think what can you do? Are you catching up with technology? That doesn't make any sense because humans are creating technology. So it's about what makes you more human. What is so unique about you? You can create context, you understand, you look at body language, you learn, you think. These are all innately human, right? I think if you can keep sharpening those skills, that would be, I mean, that's an advice for all of us, not just the younger workforce, but for you and me as well, is how I think about it.
Right, right, right. So, Shalini, if I ask you that if you were to a student again today with everything you know, how would you approach your career differently or similarly?
I'll start with similarly because everybody would say differently, right? Similarly is, I think I will continue to hold on to the joy of learning. I think that's probably the crux of it. Because the joy I had when I was learning things, whether it's in college or school, I do keep up right now in workplace. I think that's what sustains and helps us thrive. I will keep on my innate uh, desire to keep trying new things. I think that's helped me. What would I do differently as a student? I think I will give myself a little bit more leeway. I was too hard on myself because what I'll start trying to learn a little bit more is on the real world and less about the books. Nothing against the books. Books teach you fundamentals, but I'm saying do not be unidimensional in books. Truly learn from being out there doing things. I think that's something which every student should aspire for. I would do it. And second is, I think I would build a lot more self-belief in myself and try to learn how to separate the noise from all the distractions I have, whether it is social media, whether it is online, whether it is this, whether it is that. I think, yeah, those are the few things. Subjects wise, would I still choose electronics and communication? Maybe because I love that subject. Would I be okay from moving from E&C all the way to investment banking? I think that's debatable. I think I just jumped in. I just jumped in, but yeah, yeah, those are some of the
Okay, great, great, great. You are too honest. I mean, thank you. Uh,
questions.
so, Shalini, I mean, we also have amazing questions from our audience. So maybe I would like to take a couple of them. Okay, we are also, going a little ahead of time. I hope you don't mind for another 10 odd
Sure,
minutes. Yeah.
sure.
So, okay, so Lavanya wish to know that what skills do you believe India's future leaders need to drive the digital economy forward?
Very good question, Lavanya.
Very good question.
Um, Future skills. Like I said, ability to very quickly pivot. Because what I'm seeing, right, you either see organizations very quickly pivoting and have no idea and then come back. Again, that's a leadership failure, right? On the other side, you are sitting on changes, waiting it out, seeing what's going to happen years together, and you're losing to competitive advantage. I think that so. I think how do you thoughtfully pivot is going to be very, very key. And for that, use technology. I think that's earlier, it was all about subjectivity and inputs and intuition, which is still good, which are all fundamental skills. But now you have data and technology in hand. You can actually leverage that. For me, I think that's a very key skill as a leadership team that we need to embark on. Second is I truly recognize that it's not just about India's economy. We are all today global, whether we like it or not. Something happens somewhere in the world, we all get affected. So, which means how do you truly build that skill and ability to understand what's happening globally? How will it affect the team? How will it affect the company? And keep pivoting, keep building that mindset. I think that global focus is very key while building world class things in India. I think, we should not, what do I say? We should not let ourselves down by doing low quality work for ourselves while building high quality work for others. That's not what I meant. I meant is you have the global focus, but as you're building, build world class. I think that's second. And third is India has the innate ability to build for scale. Because when we solve problems, we're solving for 1.5 billion people, typically.
Yeah.
That's something which no other country today, except for probably China, can even think about. Then double down on that skill. As you build things, build for scale, ability to pivot. Third is global.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Anjali have again equally interesting question, and she says, "Hello, ma'am. How do you see AI, 5G, and other emerging technologies reshaping industry in India?" And I'm just adding to it that the SpaceLink program of putting those 60 odd thousand satellites across the Earth. How the world will look like in some time from now.
I think you may have heard this from many leaders, but okay, I'll look at both parts of the question. One is how does AI, 5G, etc. change? It's definitely going to change every part of our life. I think I'm probably repeating what everybody's saying, but manufacturing is going to be one of the big things that's going to change in India. And frontier technologies, not just space and drone technologies, obviously is going to have a lot of impact, but what will change also is climate tech because it's a real thing. What will change massively, and all of this will have impact because you have 5G, you're going to have a lot more climate impact here. Because you have 5G, you have a lot more access to things. So, and which means you can build a lot more AI, but all of that still has to solve your fundamental problems of clean water, good food, nutrition. I think those real problems have a really good opportunity to be solved much faster than what we had in the past. I mean, I'm an optimist. I definitely feel that's the second. Now, manufacturing, of course, for India, I think there will be a lot more impetus and focus on just the upgradation of our infrastructure, which I think again is a big, um, I would say, outcome based on some of these revolutions. But as a job economy, especially in IT, I think we all need to be really able to pivot very fast as the technologies take change. I think that's, I wouldn't say a word of caution, but it's a reality we have to really think through, right? And we can't just be sitting around. I think that's one. Coming to your question of how will the world look like? I hope the world gets a bit more kinder and bit more equal. Definitely amongst countries, I think you'll suddenly see the leaderboards going a little bit all over the place because technology can be a very good equalizer, but at the same time, it being in the hands of wrong hands can lead to various effects. So I think my hope for the world is we can create some more equality because we can generate more opportunities. I hope we definitely have a kinder atmosphere because there are truly big earth-wide problems to solve, climate being one of the biggest things. And coming to some more specific things, I would say the whole economy around electric vehicles, economy around um, just the space tech and drone tech and all of these, which were called as frontier technologies in the past, I think are going to become a lot more accessible to almost individuals to start impacting. So, which means hugely capital intensive businesses can start becoming a lot more accessible to individuals to start impacting. That's an amazing opportunity. So,
Mm.
what do we do with it is the next question. But yeah, those are some of the thoughts.
Great. So, Kabir Vishnu, that considering that you are at such an integral position, so what is the basis do you take an important decision? And is it a lot of research? Is it number driven by logics and number, or is it gut feeling?
All the three. I don't think
All it put
so
together.
the God has given us left and right brain for a reason, right?
Correct.
We should try to use all of it. Use
Correct.
that
Correct.
backup. Definitely use your intuition and judgment. And over years, over time, sharpen those skills.
Right.
And relationships. I think for me, I try to use all of it. Do I use it very effectively? I'm still learning, but I use all of them.
Okay. Great, Shalini. Thank you. But I mean, thank you for amazing session and terrific insights. But before we conclude, I would like to run a short rapid fire session with you. I hope you are prepared for it.
I am not. Rapid fire is supposed to be difficult, so go for it.
Okay. So one corporate buzzword you wish you would, I mean, that would disappear forever.
Whole outsourcing, offshoring.
Okay. So what is a productivity hack you swear by?
You can multitask, but focus on one single thing at every single time
Okay.
and do it really well.
Right. Okay. You answered it partly, but again, let me ask you that if you weren't in tech, what do you think you would be doing today?
I would, I think two of my vocations which I never pursued. One was I was absolutely passionate about getting into medicine, which didn't happen. I became an engineer technology. I mean, no regrets, but that's one. But if second is music, I think I feel it's such a divine gift to mankind. I would love to do more there and
Okay.
teach. Teach. I think I love teaching.
Okay. Good. And you will be a good teacher, let me tell you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Okay. So work from home, hybrid or full office? What's your pick and why?
I think at this point, hybrid, because I have genuinely seen, and in my life, I have worked from home when there was no work from home. In India, I have worked from home for almost several years, 6, 7 years, I think. And I've seen the world of 100% remote, 100% work from office. Today, my preference hybrid, hybrid with flexibility, but hybrid because there is a lot of energy derived when you work with a group of people, like-minded people in a dedicated space. I think, I mean, I couldn't explain more as to the advantages of work from office. And for deep work, work on your own, yeah, whether it's home or anywhere you want to, I think that's equally valuable. So as of now, I'm a fan of hybrid.
Okay. And if AI could take over one thing from your daily routine, what would you happily give up?
Managing meetings.
Okay. Okay. Uh, if we're to choose a mascot for your organization, what would it be?
That's a very good one. It may have to be a fantastical creature. I don't think there is one which is realistic. So, for example, it should represent. So, I'll tell you today, our logo is Falcon because Falcon
Mm.
stands for speed and pace and energy. So, I like all the three. What I would want to add is change to it. So, a mascot has to be able to represent those three. So, I don't have one creature which does all the three. So, we'll have to come.
AI can help you generate that.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay. Okay. One thing about Gen Z at work that genuinely impressed you.
Sorry, what was that?
I said one thing about Gen Z at work that genuinely impressed you.
Yeah. Oh, I love working with Gen Z. Everybody in my team knows that I'm like, we should go from being middle-aged to younger. Um, I think what I love is their ability to question your fundamental beliefs without much fear. I love that.
I know.
Of
I know.
course, energy and curiosity comes together, but I think that's the one quality which can really change the face of the business and even a person.
Uh, my wife was asking me about my daughter, how can she talk like this or how she can question like this?
I love that when my son does it to me.
Yes, yes. Okay, the last one, Shalini. What's one leadership lesson you swear by?
I don't know if it's one, but it's a combination of humility and grace under pressure. I don't think anything ever deserves disrespect. So be graceful, irrespective of the pressure. Be humble because you are still a the whole earth is a pale blue dot in the universe. I think be authentic, which means
Hmm.
like yourself and be yourself. So those are the three things I try to always live by.
Okay, good. Thanks. I mean, amazing, amazing, amazing. Shalini, it was such a wonderful, I mean, one of the few sessions I really enjoyed.
Oh,
And
thank you,
today
Vijay.
was one such.
Truly have
Okay. Very, very, very insightful session. I'm sure, I mean, our entire audience must have got loads of takeaways from this session. Okay. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for your precious time. Okay. And on behalf of us, uh, I wish you uh, all the best in all your future endeavor to yourself, to Planview, okay, and appeal that you'll continue to create more and more jobs for our, next generation.
that's the dream. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity to share with you and everybody who listened to me. Truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shalini. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that was Shalini. I hope you enjoyed the session and had and took a note of the changing world. Uh, we are looking forward to meet you again and with another exciting session with another exciting personality. Until then, take a good care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shalini.